Yes, and welcome back to another episode. Myself, Luke, and Edo. So today we're going to look at the crazy situation last week with Bitcoin. I mean, we've absolutely been pumping to the upside with Bitcoin. We created a God candle last week, which I spoke about on my episode. I'm not sure if we spoke about it on the podcast at one point. But yeah, last week was absolutely phenomenal in Bitcoin. Altcoins are about to follow. Altcoin season is just around the corner. In fact, I believe altcoin season is here. It's just started. So we'll jump into that in my positions, my thoughts with the altcoin. So stay tuned to the very end. Make sure to subscribe to both of our channels here on YouTube and help us, make us grow on YouTube. We really appreciate it. So are you excited for this week?
I mean, what happened last week was crazy, and like it makes even us being here in this space very exciting.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if we just go over to the chart right now, we can clearly see, yeah, we're at 82,000 US dollars. Today, it is a bank holiday, so I don't expect a massive volatility. But having said that, I mean, we are entering the parabolic phase of the bull run.
But I think it's only bank holiday here in France. I don't think there's a bank holiday in all the EU countries.
Yeah, well, I'm not too sure about it, but yeah, whatever happens, I mean, we could see Bitcoin do another weekly God candle like we saw last week. But what I'm interested in is seeing, especially tomorrow, Tuesday, and what happens at 2 p.m. today as well, when if the market's open in the US. I don't know if it's a bank holiday in the US.
I don't think so.
No, so if not, well, anyway, so for this week, I expect another huge pump to the upside. So we had this God candle last week, and it was a $15,000. What do you think to that?
No, it's crazy. But somehow we saw it coming, because in our previous video you were saying that given what will happen with the US election, it could affect the market in one way or the other. What we weren't sure about was if it will be a one-time event, or if it will really drive the market in a certain position. But what we've seen now is that it seems to be driving the market not only for a few days, but really in a very long time. So it's really crazy. It's really crazy. But I wasn't personally. I think I was a little bit pessimistic. I felt like Bitcoin will a bit lose some of its value. But given the current scenario, it seems that Bitcoin will continue with this trend for some time.
Yeah, I think now we're entering that parabolic phase of this cycle. So over the next 3 to 6 months, we could have an extended market of a year. I know a lot of people are saying that. Personally, I prefer to be a bit more pragmatic. I'm saying maximum 6 months. So you've got 6 months from now to maximize your gains, especially in altcoins, which we will dive into in just a second. I'll show you what I'm doing. Again, everything I say is not financial advice. It's just for educational purposes only. And I mean, 90% get wrecked. So what we're going to see is a massive bull market come, and most people, sadly, will get wrecked in the space, especially if you're new. You have to be careful, stick to your plan. We've spoken about having a plan and sticking to a strategy. It's difficult though when emotions get involved. We spoke about human emotions previously in one of my videos, and we have a podcast, I think, coming out about FOMO and human emotion in the market.
Like I think that we talked about 80,000 at the beginning of this year. We made a lot of big video at the beginning of this year where we kind of speculated where we think that Bitcoin will go. But seeing it right now, it still feel like it's a dream. I don't know.
Yeah, so I've been calling $100,000 Bitcoin by the end of this year, and right now it doesn't look so silly anymore.
No, it doesn't.
So I know a lot of people were questioning, not just me, but other YouTubers, it's too much for this year, possibly 2025. But having seen the last 2 cycles and how fast things can move, we've just had a 15,000 God candle last week. So if we just do another 15,000, where does that put us? So if we go from 67, we had a 15K, 20% rise, that's 14,000. So if we do the same on this candle, we're going all the way up to, what does it say, 96K by the end of this week. And I'm not saying that's going to happen, but normally when we're in that parabolic phase, like we see back here in our last cycle, things move up pretty quickly.
Yeah, And then we can even see there is another candle that is starting to be formed at the top of the first candle, and I feel like somehow the market is being pushed so that Bitcoin could reach the digit figure. I feel like it's almost certain that Bitcoin will reach 100K in a couple of weeks. Could even happen maybe in 2 weeks, who knows? But I was skeptic about it, but I feel a little bit more certain now that Bitcoin will push to reach 100K.
So just looking at the technicals, because I did bring out on my channel a few weeks ago, I was talking about it quite a bit. It was the bull flag. It's not formed here, but I just want to show everybody this bull flag, which you can go and check out my videos from the past 1 month talking about this channel. And I know it's been pretty boring since February. It's been over 6 months. I mean, how many days was that since February? We've been going sideways before we had that pump to the upside, 231 days. So that's a long time to wait. But we clearly had this bull flag. I spoke about this on my channel many, many times. And the target for this bull flag is all the way up here. Let me just put that there. For me, it was like 82 to 84,000, and we're on course. I mean, so if anybody listened to what I spoke about, this bull flag, this is just the beginning. This is my pragmatic viewpoint, because we can also measure this from the top if you want, and it takes us all the way to 96,000. The reason why I put it down here is just to be a little bit more pragmatic, objective, so that if it does pump past 83, 84,000, then I've got all that leeway here to actually start jumping out of my position, taking profits. Nobody gets poor taking profits. So yeah, we're almost there. So if you've taken this trade from that breakout, which I spoke about on my channel a few weeks ago, you're currently up 20%. So congratulations to all those out there. If you took this, I don't know what your feeling is on this.
Yeah. So if I get it right, what you're saying now is that they need to start taking part of their profit just in case the market reverses its direction.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea to start taking profits maybe around about now. We're at 82K. I mean, it depends where you want to measure this. I mean, probably just extended this slightly, but let's just imagine it goes, yeah. We're most likely at that point of this breakout now, the top of what I was talking about on my channel. You'll have to go back on some of my videos and you can check out what I was talking about there. But if it was me, I would start, taking profits and then putting some of my profits into altcoins ready for the surge, which we'll jump into in just a second. I mean, you can let this thing ride up. So what you could do is set a trailing stop loss so that if it does come back down, you're going to take some profits off the table. So whatever happens, you're in a win-win situation. You're playing with the house's money and you can just sit back and relax. So don't get greedy. That's what I'm saying. So if you are 20% up, if you've done a 10x leverage, you're 20% up, you've just made 200%. So why not take profit? Why not take 100% and keep 100% on the table? I mean, it's just not financial advice. You do what you want, but be careful because we do have, I think it's a CME gap. Let me just check. So if we go to Google, we've got
not on the right.
Google. We'll do this live. Who cares what's going on here? And we need to put the Bitcoin CME gap. Let's check it out. So it's the BTC1 futures. And I'm pretty sure we have created a CME gap. Yeah, you can, wow, that's massive. That's massive. That's huge. So we have, I'm going to put a rectangle there. So Kodjo, do you know what a CME gap is?
Try to refresh my mind, please.
Yeah, so this is basically when the market over the weekend pumps. Obviously, the institutions, the markets are, well, it's the weekend, so everything's closed. So Bitcoin, crypto usually continues to pump. It's one of the only assets that continues. And then when the market opens, so if Bitcoin's been pumping, market opens on the Monday, creating this. So this was the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. And of course, we pumped all the way up to this level. over the course of the weekend. So it creates this gap, basically. So 9 times out of 10, these CME gaps, they get filled up.
So which means that what is going to happen is that the market directions will be reversed a little bit so that this gap is being filled.
Most likely, we basically come back down to this level. We basically come back down here, which would be 77,000 US dollars. Let me just go back to my, refresh this. Let's just go back here. So we had that. Hopefully it's kept my bull flag. If not, it doesn't matter. So it was 77, put it just here. So this is from 81K all the way down to 77,000. So we've got the rectangle. So approximately here to 77, I said.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've got this huge CME gap just here. I mean, again, you can clearly see it here. It's on the, and 8-9 times out of 10, they get filled up. So it doesn't mean it's going to happen tomorrow, but they usually happen sooner rather than later. So we could this week very, very quickly have a reversal back down where we hit this level. We have some resistance here, look. We have some support, sorry. And we could come back down and retest the 77,000 US dollars. And then we get a bounce off it. So if you're looking for a trade, maybe just hold your horses and wait for this thing to come down. And then you can get a nice leverage position at lower prices ready to get that bounce up. That's what I would be looking at if I'm going to jump into a Bitcoin trade. I would not be FOMOing in right now. I would be waiting for this to come back down to 77 at least, and then jump into a nice 5x, 3x small leverage positions, swing long to the upside, because it'll be healthy. It's not healthy just to go up in a straight line. It's healthy for the market to have a bit of a correction. We've had that huge pump. So that's what I'm looking at the moment. So we do have this CME gap formed over the course of the weekend.
Well, that's interesting. That's interesting to consider that. But there is also another technical that we were also discussing before the beginning of this video. It was also about the big cup and handle. And I guess with this big cup and handle, we have also another optimistic scenario, because with this big cup and handle, we could go even above 120K.
Yeah, so let's, shall I draw it up again? So let's just go back to our thingy. So I was showing you before this huge cup and handle. I looked at this months and months ago. I mean, it's been on other YouTubers' channels as well. So we've got this cup. It's a clear cup. And we also have this handle that formed. And so to measure this, simply you just go from the bottom of the cup, so roughly around here, to the neckline. And then we're going to have to zoom out because it's absolutely phenomenal where this takes us from the neckline approximately here to just well over 120K.
Yeah. I mean, just to show to those listening to us or even watching this video as well, that there is a big potential for Bitcoin in the future, but they just want to play it carefully. Maybe just to wait until the best time for them to jump in a trade.
Exactly. So I'm going to keep that in blue. So yeah, if you're going to trade this, again, so we've just looked at the bull flag. So we've reached our target on my channel. We can go up to that 95K if we're looking at the very, very optimistic viewpoint. Just keep in mind we have that CME gap. So if you're going to jump into a trade, maybe just wait 24, 48 hours to see if that CME gap fills up. 8-9 times out of 10, 80% of the time they get filled up. And then you could put a trade in at that 77,000 US dollar level, ready for that next ride up. So that next leg up. And if it happens, let's just imagine the CME gap gets filled up at 77K. Then we get that bounce off it. The next leg up, in my opinion, will be up to 100,000. And then if we go all the way up to our target of this cup and handle pattern, it's a 56 percent from the bottom of the CME gap. If you're doing it leverage, 10x leverage, you can make a nice 560% on this single trade. It's absolutely phenomenal. Even just to get to 100K, 6-figure Bitcoin would be a huge thing in the market. I don't know what your feelings are.
Now, if Bitcoin gets to 100K, I feel like the coverage of the media will just be phenomenal. A lot of people have jumped in Bitcoin because of all the attention also from the media. But I think that if Bitcoin does get to 100K, then it won't take too long before it gets to 120. Right now, the fact that it gets to 80K in a short period of time, it also shows how quickly a Bitcoin market could move in the next couple of weeks, even couple of months. But what you were saying earlier as well is that maybe we could see a Bitcoin rally until next year, and then maybe altcoins will follow suit. And if that happens, then maybe you could expect everything maybe to start collapsing around April.
Yeah, so my theory, being in the market for some time, we could have an extended bull market of up to, I've heard, 1 year. I think it's too long. I'm saying 6 months because I prefer to be a little bit more pragmatic. So I'm thinking April, May time would be where I will be definitely by March taking profits. If Bitcoin, if it doesn't go beyond 100K before the end of this year, then I expect it to in the first quarter of next year. So that's the 6-month target. If from now we go up to 120,000 before Christmas, before the end of the year, so we have that parabolic rise like we did in 2017-18, then we possibly could be seeing the end of the end of the bull market going into the bear market a little bit earlier than expected. Yeah. It's just my opinion.
Because in 2017, the end of the bull market was early in January, whereas in 2021 it went until 2020, until April.
Yeah, it was January, February, March where we dumped all the way, and then in April we collapsed. Yeah, and that was it. But last cycle, it went over into the next year, and we had that double top. So yeah, we've got, in hindsight, it's easy just to give you theories, but that's why you got to follow your idea, your plan, stick to it. So I have two ideas. I'm just waiting for 100,000. $100,000 Bitcoin. I believe it will go beyond 100,000. If it happens this year, then I just slightly change. I've got plan A and plan B. If it doesn't go past 100K, then I expect it to in 2025, and we'll have that 6-month extended bull run.
It's very interesting what you're mentioning. But something also that has surprised me over the past couple of weeks also is the dominance of Bitcoin.
Yeah,
it hasn't really gone down significantly, not yet, but it will. Because if this is what you also are waiting for, so you can see how the altcoins they will be able to pump.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel like it has almost remained constant. So Bitcoin is still really high in the market at the moment.
It is at the moment. I mean, we've had this, I'm not going to call it a dump, but it's still significant. We've had over 1 week a 2% dump, which is big for the Bitcoin dominance. I expect the Bitcoin dominance to fall even harder. I mean, if we just go to, so we were up here just over the last week, almost 61%. We've come down to 59. So in terms of the altcoins, what I'm going to say is right now, my opinion, not financial advice again, it is essential if you're looking at altcoins to jump in now. And if you want to maximize your gains, something I'm doing, maybe we can talk about on the next video, how to maximize your altcoins, because I've learned a lot over the last 2 cycles. But right now, it's most likely the beginning of the altcoin season. I don't think we'll probably have a dead cat bounce. I don't think we'll go to 60% again, and we're going to come right back down. So what's going to happen is we're going to see something like this, where the Bitcoin dominance is going to fall. I mean, we've been going up constant for quite a while, and I don't think it can hold forever. People will start getting bored of Bitcoin when it gets to its all-time high, They will want to maximize their profits. So then they jump into the top 20, the top 100. And that's when we have this domino effect where this thing will come crashing down and the altcoins are going to absolutely explode. So over the last week, altcoins have exploded. It's only an altcoin rally. I mean, you look at this and you think, no, it's not. It's the start of altcoin season. I think it is. But right now, if the dominance goes back up and some of these altcoins maybe lose a little bit of their gains or whatever, then yeah, we can call it an altcoin rally. But I think right now altcoin season has just started, and you're going to be looking at like 100% each day for consecutive weeks. So you're going to do a 2x every day. You're going to see these altcoins do 10x, 20x, 30x, some of them even 100x in the lower mid cap to micro cap coins. So to maximize your gains, I'm going to jump into that maybe in the next video. But what are your thoughts on the altcoins over the last week?
I mean, if you see this website, like everything is in the green. It feels great to be in this crypto space.
Yeah, this is
this
the month is crazy. Doge
is great.
Radium.
I mean, some of these coins here, like Doge, Ray, it's massive. It's massive. But it's just the beginning.
Yeah, so for me,
beginning.
For me, I mean, the year's been phenomenal look at some of these. They're up 1,500. Bonk is up. I mean, meme coins are up. I mean, look at this one, 6,000%, which is phenomenal. But we haven't had an altcoin season yet. The reason why I say that is because the dominance
is still very high.
Is still very high. We need the dominance to come back down into the 40s. That's why I'm saying it's not the end of. It's just the beginning. If anybody's gonna jump into altcoins right now, it's your last opportunity, in my opinion, and the best opportunity to make absolute life-changing wealth with the altcoins, because your portfolio is just gonna go absolute bonkers.
But this is why it feels hard.
In what way?
Because altcoins, they are a little bit more expensive now than they were a couple of weeks ago. So if you are getting into it now, also the risk that you lose a part of your money is also very high. So obviously, okay, there is also a chance that you make a lot of money by investing in these altcoins. But for me, like the psychology of the things, you still want to continue. Maybe because Bitcoin is safer, because also so everybody's talking about Bitcoin and less on these altcoins. So the psychology wants you to move away a little bit from these altcoins, even though maybe you are seeing that these altcoins also are pumping. So personally, like I kind of a little bit, I don't know. I really want to jump into these altcoins right now, but at the same time, I'm also a little bit conservative, just to wait and see how the market will go.
Yeah, I mean, each to their own. So you have to stick to your own plan. Make sure to have a plan, and that's why it's important. Whatever I say, whatever you say, it's just for educational purposes only. So whatever plan you have, just stick to it. But looking at the past, of the last two cycles that I've experienced, right now everything's repeating. I think we can agree on that. Everything is repeating. That last week was a big deal because of the US elections. Most likely the reason why Bitcoin went up 15K. What's funny is Donald Trump hasn't even spoken about Bitcoin yet. And so everybody's just been hyped and jumping into Bitcoin, into altcoins, and he hasn't even spoken about. So as soon as he speaks about what he wants to do with Bitcoin and crypto in America, well, that remains to be seen. But that could even be another massive catalyst to jump up to that $6-figure Bitcoin. And the altcoins, in my opinion, it's just started.
Yeah, but
the party has started.
Yeah, I mean, given the fact that like one single event made the market to go that high.
Yeah, this 15K, yeah.
It could also happen that maybe another single event also does make the market to drop considerably.
If we have a black swan event, then for sure. So just bearing in mind, so just to wrap this up, we're going to talk about the altcoins in another episode, how to maximize your gains, which altcoins that I'm looking at, especially in gaming, in AI. We'll explain some of those in the next episode. But for Bitcoin, right now, just in a nutshell, to wrap this episode up, we could form another God candle, but at the same time, if you're jumping into a trade, just beware of our CME gap, which is all the way from 77,260 all the way up to 81K. So that's a $4,000 range just to be careful of. So if you want to jump into a trade, maybe just wait for this to be filled up, get that bounce off the bottom, and then you can trade this thing up. So, yep, thanks, guys. I mean, it's going to be phenomenal whatever happens this year. I think we're in for a real treat with Bitcoin, with altcoins. If you're new to altcoins or new to crypto for that matter, you're going to experience phenomenal gains over the next 3 to 6 months. But it's going to be a test for you to start taking profits. You're going to experience the different emotions, FOMO, everything is just going to come at you. And it's very important to have your plan ready, to stick to it. Don't get greedy and take gains off the table.
And that's why we call it psychology of the market. And we already made another video talking about this point. So if you haven't seen it, we really recommend it. Go and watch when we are talking about how the market can drive you through different emotions and feelings.
Yeah. So thanks everybody for sticking right to the end. Make sure to leave some comments in the section below what you think, if you're excited, which altcoins you're going for, if you've jumped into a Bitcoin trade. Really appreciate it. Leave a thumbs up, thumbs down, subscribe to our channels, and we will see you next time.